Hey guys, so as you can see just by looking at this thing, the Buick's a little different now, and I probably lacked a little bit of updating you guys, but I just got carried away with this thing and worked for a couple days, and just I just did little things at a time, and I'll show you what I did, or what I've done, or in the process of doing. You can pretty much call this day 4 and 5. So I got this bumper on here, this nice Ford bumper. This one should hold up pretty well with this plate in the middle. This is the one that I got a few months ago, and looks pretty good. It went on there all right, and got it nice and on there. Pretty tight. It's pretty on there. So hopefully I'm gonna get some more. Hopefully they'll allow me to do some more, like with the 9 wire and stuff, and stuff like that, just to get it really held on there to make sure it doesn't fall off. Hopefully it doesn't fall off, but you know, if it happens, it happens. So as you guys can see, the lower radiator support on this car is basically non-existent. I did end up tearing off what was left of this side, and it was actually worse than what I thought. So now you can see this whole entire thing's about ready to fall off, but I got the go-ahead to put a plate here, so that's good. Put just a plate across, not thick. It's just going to be a thin metal plate with price sides on it, just to hold the radiator in, you know, and we're going to weld it to the sides of this and the sides of this, and then right here and here too, just to make sure it's pretty on there, and should be pretty good. I'm actually in the process of moving the wiring right now, and that's why you see this mess, all this mess right here. I looped the transmission lines. I got a basically what I did, and actually this was pretty simple. There are lines that came out of the radiator, and actually I'll just show you them. They're in the trunk here. I haven't messed with any other part of the car. All the other parts of the car are the same as when you guys last saw them. Like I said, I can't do much of that stripping yet until I have my tent back. So in here I got the radiators in here, and that's where the transmission cooler lines went, and this right here is where I cut the lines. This is where I clipped on and everything. I took the clips off just to keep them, and that's where they clipped on. And I just took a spare line I had around, and I bent it with a tubing bender, and clipped that on there, and now it's holding, kind of. It's holding enough. Let's just say that. And I got a much better look at the frame now, and everything. I might do a video on what makes these cars so much stronger than the second gen W bodies. I don't know. Honestly, it doesn't look like a whole lot. I mean, going based off what I remember from the Century and everything, it doesn't look like a whole lot more things are supporting this car than what we're supporting that car, but for some reason these things are a lot tougher. I think it's almost solely just because of that subframe. Although what doesn't make sense is that subframe doesn't seem to be as thick, or as heavy duty as the last one looked. At least it looks. It doesn't look as strong, but it is stronger. This bracket here, I'm just going to keep it here. It's not hurting anything. It's actually connecting this side of the frame and that side of the frame. So it's really supporting the frame, kind of, if you think about it. And all I have to do really is I'm just going to cut this off so this hook doesn't go, in case this frame like bends here and then the whole frame starts coming in this way. This doesn't cut. I mean, this doesn't hit anything over here, because there is a plug right there. I mean, it has to go quite a ways to go there, but still, I'd rather not just prevent that from happening. Plus that little hook there is not doing much at all. So I actually got the coil pack, well, kind of moved. That's why I had to move the wiring though. In order to start this thing up, I'd have to connect the wires, and if I'm going to move the coil pack, I got to move the wiring too. So, and this wiring's a lot, and believe it or not, this is going to sound weird to you guys, this wiring is actually a lot more difficult than what it was on the Century. And that's because the Century basically had it running right here. Most of the wiring literally could be unhooked and just flopped around the motor. Like, just take it, put it somewhere else. This one's a little different. See, these wires down here actually go under the motor. Through there, if you guys can see that one right there, that middle one right in the middle of the screen, the one I'm trying to shake right now. Let's see, not that one. That one. That one goes under the motor, and if you guys can see, I don't know if you can, there it is. It goes all the way back and up behind the oil pan. What a pain. I don't know what I'm going to do about it yet. Have to see if I can get that moved, or I don't know. I really don't know yet at this point what I'm going to do about that line. And I actually went in to see if there is a video on wiring, and there actually doesn't seem to be a real video that shows you how to move the wiring on these. And I can see why some people would say, screw it, I'm just going to carb it. But especially where I'm going, there's no way I could carb this thing, and nor do I want to. I just think it's too much effort. I think it'd be less time to move the wiring into a safer place than it would to carb it. It'd just take less time to move the wiring. I got the motor mounts off here. And these motor mounts on the bottom of this motor are actually pretty good. How you really test those, I think, is just by pulling on the motor. And on the Century, how I knew those motor mounts, I mean, I knew they were pretty bad, but when I took these off, the whole motor flopped back like this one did. But I can also just grab it here, and I could bring that motor about up to here. I could tug on that motor and with one hand. With this motor, I can move it maybe 2 inches at most. So those motor mounts on that Century were pretty screwed. That's all I gotta say. These motor mounts are in a lot better shape. So let's see, what else do I have to talk about? I moved all this. I don't think this was all moved out when you guys last saw this thing. Got that all cut out. I'm gonna end up putting a sensor back into this thing. I'm probably just gonna cut out a hole and just maybe glue it or whatever, because I just want it running right. I think it is important, that sensor. And let's see, what else is not here. I think everything else is pretty much the same. I'm not sure whether, yes, I did. Okay, yes, that was there. I guess that's pretty much it. This bumper was relatively easy to get on. One of the tools I had saved my life on this thing, because my drill would not go through this metal for some reason. No matter what drill bits I was using, I mean, I guess they were all pretty crappy, because this bumper isn't really that thick. But and then I used another tool, which I'll show you probably at some point. I'll probably show you guys what that is next time I cut a bumper. And that went through this like butter. I mean, that thing just tore right through this thing. So that was pretty cool. And I do have this thing bolted on all 4 holes there nicely, and it's really is pretty much on there. And that's right about it. I mean, I haven't done all my work for day 4 and day 5 really. Well, considering multiple days and stuff, I'm just saying, like, what this video could go in chronological order if this was day 4 and 5. It's pretty much all been under here. just little things at a time. So today I'm just going to be doing a little bit more of the wiring, trying to move it as far back as I can, and then I'll probably end up making a video on it because I really couldn't find a video of how to move the wiring. I might also make a video on how to change the water pump on one of these, because this water pump is so bad, it's not even really that funny. I can pull on this belt right now. If this had water in the system, I could pull on the belt and it'd start leaking. That's how bad it is. So I'm going to be taking this water pump out and just put a new one in. And they're really cheap. Like on Amazon, I think I got it for 13 bucks. Really cheap. And I'm just going to pull it right out once it's done. Just to use it again, because why not, you know? And well, I guess that's pretty much it. I'm going to be getting this wiring moved and go from there, I guess. Hopefully everything goes pretty well. It's going to be kind of difficult, I think. It's probably going to take probably a couple hours of time to get all this wiring moved, but that's what happens when you're working on a demo car. You gotta learn. So, and I'll know what to do next time. So, alright, well, see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and bye-bye, everybody.